December 12, we conducted a workshop as part of the Promociti Promoting Active Citizenship project that we participated in the last few years. The workshop had the title, What can we learn from Europe about how to do energy communities? It was organized as a hybrid workshop with both participants online and participants in the classroom at the school. The background to the workshop was the local work we have been involved with the last few years, as we have worked with volunteers, groups of local citizens and small businesses to install more solar energy locally. What we learned through this work is that many more will install solar if we manage to organize this type of collaborative processes. Working together seems to lead both to collective learning processes, good quality installations, good prices and good collaboration with installation firms. All in all, we have collectively procured solar PV installations 4 times, and it has resulted in 65 solar PV units in our local communities. A question which arises now is what our next steps will be. Should we focus more on batteries? Should we look closer at owning some installations together in the community? What will make sense? And how can we work together with municipal local energy companies and municipal governments? In this workshop, in order to answer those questions, or at least begin to think about them, we asked what we can learn from Europe. We got reports from Belgium and Austria, where we had participants in the workshop who have been involved in setting up this kind of energy communities. We also learned about RESCOOP, which is a federation of energy communities in Europe. Energy communities sometimes are called energy cooperatives, and RESCOOP have 2,250 member cooperatives, and they represent 1.5 million citizens in Europe. We talked about that the majority of citizens in Europe seems to be positive to joining energy communities. In a poll from 2021, 61% answered that they would likely join an energy cooperative if one were set up in their local area. In the workshop, we continued and looked at how energy communities can look in different ways. We looked at one model where the energy community is based on a housing unit, a single house or a small block of houses. We also talked about the option to organize energy communities in little bit bigger communities, like a rural community with 1,000 or several thousand inhabitants. The advantage of energy communities that are bigger than one block or one house is that they can include a larger variety of people and technologies. They could, for example, include both people who have their own roof and people living in apartment houses. They can include solar, and they can include batteries in other locations or wind power. Regional and national energy communities is another option, and those kind of cooperatives with members from a much larger area can be found in almost all European countries too. This form of communities are owning and operating different forms of energy generation across one region or a nation, and they deliver energy to the grid in a very similar way that traditional energy business do. In the workshop, we also addressed some challenges. One challenge is taxing and grid tariffs that can discourage cooperation. Many countries are adopting the regulation in ways that encourage energy communities. Others are not. In Sweden, perhaps the most successful examples of energy communities are housing cooperatives that have been able to work within the same favorable taxing conditions as individuals and households. Certain challenge is to create forms of energy communities that can include more people, for example, people who live in tenant houses or in houses with bad solar access. There are good proposals for doing collaborations between landlords and tenants, but it is very easy for landlords to block initiatives on the grounds that it is too complicated with this kind of solutions. Thank you for listening to this presentation. For more information on Färnebo Folk High School and the Promociti Promoting Active Citizenship project, have a look at our webpage. On this webpage, you can also learn more about our work with solar energy and other forms of local energy. Bye bye.